All right, folks, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fuck buddies, what the fucking ears, what the fuck sticks, what's happening? There was one bit in the book that struck me just because of what we're living through now. There was a moment in the book where you talked about the high school principal encouraging you had the rah-rahs and the greasers and then the meatheads. But, there was this was a high school thought. But, when you were a long hair and you were going to go to graduation, that he subtly encouraged anybody to get you in line.
Yeah.
Which we now have a president-elect.
He's that high school principal.
Yeah, the guy who's going to sick the bad guys on you. I can't do it myself, but I'm not saying you should.
So somebody knocked that guy in the face.
Right. That's scary.
Not me, but somebody do it. I'll pay the bill.
I'm not even going to tell you to do it. I'm just saying it wouldn't bother me if you did.
Exactly.
And that's, it's like when I think about, I don't know, are you scared now?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. How could you not be?
Right. Is this? Have you felt this fear before?
No.
Right.
I felt disgust before.
Right.
But never the kind of fear that you feel now.
Right.
And it's simply the fear of, is someone simply competent enough to do this particular job?
Right.
Forget about where they are ideologically.
Right.
Do they simply have the pure competence?
Right.
To be put in a position of such, in responsibility.
He's so when you've done the amount of self work you've done and you've grown up the way you've grown up, and people. It's sort of like they elected the most insecure, needy, volatile dude, and to do this job that somehow or another. I don't think it embodies strength to a lot of people, but it does embody fuck you.
Yeah.
There's just they just voted for, who are you voting for? The fuck you guy.
That happened.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
And, so I started thinking about this weird thing about the themes of your music and the people that, you empower and empathize for, people in your life, your younger sister who live working class life.
Of course.
And times are tough, but that shift, and I think you might have suggested it in the book a little bit, the strength that comes through faith or determination to deal with adversity is that's a celebration of the American spirit. But once adversity tips into hopelessness, however that looks, and you've written those characters too, and they've acted, sometimes badly. But when the hopelessness, has no place to go, this is where we're at.
You're right.
So how do you, where's your empathy around that? I know people that voted for him. You live in New Jersey. You probably know a few.
Of course.
And then you have that moment where you're like, well, who the fuck are you? Who are you? I thought I knew you.
Yeah. I mean, I understand how he got elected.
Yeah.
And I think if you were affected deeply by the deindustrialization and globalization and the technological advances, and you have been left behind, that somebody comes along and tells you, I'm going to bring all the jobs back. Don't worry about it. They're all coming back, And you're concerned about America changing, the browning of America. I'm going to build a wall. You're worried about ISIS. I got a secret plan to defeat ISIS. Don't worry about that. You're worried about terrorism in the United States. I'm going to register the Muslims and we're going to ban. I mean, these are all very simplistic, but very powerful and simple ideas. I mean, they're lies. They can't occur, but
if they do occur, they can't lead to a better place.
But if you've struggled for the past 30 or 40 years, and this has been the very themes of much of my creative life for all those years, somebody comes along and offers you something else, particularly after you feel you've been failed by the two parties, that it's a compelling choice, and it just appeals to your worst angels. And under certain circumstances, enough people went there. Not a majority of the people, but enough.
And what's your biggest fear of it as we enter it?
I suppose would be that a lot of the worst things and the worst aspects of what he appealed to comes to fruition. You know, when you let that genie out of the bottle, bigotry, racism, when you let those things out of the bottle, intolerance, they don't go back in the bottle that easily, if they go back in at all.
Right.
You know, whether it's a rise in hate crimes, people feeling they have license to speak and behave in ways that previously were considered un-American and are un-American. That's what he's appealing to. And so my fears are that those things find a place in ordinary civil society, demeans the discussions and events of the day, and the country changes in a way that is unrecognizable, and we become estranged. As you say, hey, well, wait a minute, you voted for Trump. I thought I knew who you were. You know, I'm not sure. You know, the country feels very estranged. You feel very estranged from your countrymen, you know.
Yeah.
So those are all dangerous things that, and we don't even know, you know, he hasn't even taken office yet.
And everyone's,
and it's bad.
Those of us who panic are panicking.
Yeah, you know, so we got to wait and see. But those are certainly the implications. And if you also look at who he's been picking for his cabinet, it doesn't speak very well for what's coming up. You know, those are all things that you know, I'm very frightened of and waiting to see play out. And all you can do is say, well, I'm going to do my best to, hey, America is still America. I believe in its ideals, and I'm going to do my best to play my very, very small part in maintaining those things.
Are you writing about it?
No, I haven't written about it. You know, it takes a while to digest all those things. And even and I don't know if I will, you know, because I don't write, I don't go, okay, the I need a Trump album. That's what's got to come next.
No, but I think if you look at, you know, certainly your heroes and certainly, you know, your shift into the power of popular folk music and what, you know, folk music meant. Like, you know, it's interesting.
Well, I've got a lot of songs that are about it right now.
I know.
You know,
they're all there. That's done.
Yeah, they're there.
Yeah.
You know, they're kind of there already. And you know, if I work from the inside out. In other words, I'm inspired by something internally, and I make a record based on what I can write about at a given moment. Sometimes it ends up being topical, sometimes it doesn't, you know. But we've got a good arsenal of material right now that we can go out and sort of put in service of.
It's interesting when you write in the book about that there was an intimacy to the business, you know, whether it was you know, broken or corrupt or whatever, but you know, where you had relationships with DJs, where an article in the press could make a difference, where a song, when you think about Woody Guthrie or you think about the power of that music in those circles, how it could convey a message of unity. And I think a lot of what you talk about, you know, in your experience with your fans and what music does is that there is a community. What's scary now, and I think you kind of point your finger on it a little bit, is that it's so fragmented that there's now, you know, you can pick a world to live in that's not the real world.
Yeah, it's you know, as they say, it's your little bubble, you know.
Yeah.
And you know, New Jersey's a blue state, and you know,
sure.
I certainly ran into more Clinton supporters than I did Trump supporters, but I did know both, and I think if there's a benefit to what's occurred, and this was a little similar after the O.J. verdict, was that people realized, whoa, there are some other Americans that are my countrymen that I'm not sure I know who they are. So the answer is not to pull back into your little box, but the answer is, well, let's find out. You know?
One way or the other.
You know, and
we're going to find out.
There's plenty of good, solid folks that voted for Donald Trump.
Right.
You know, as well as people who had other agendas. But you know, to know that, you've got to think you've got to know some, and
I think what it is, a little bit is just this idea of change. That whatever they were afraid of, they voted their fear.
Yeah.
But the thing that's American that is sort of unnerving a little bit is that sort of like, it'll be all right. It's going to work itself out. And then me, and I don't know about you, but there's part of me that's like, I don't know. I hope so.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's shaking the faith.
Of course. So
we'll see.
Yeah, that's it. That's all we can say right now.
Yeah. And